Welcome to the Weekly Ring for Friday, March 16th. We're your hosts,
Nancy Martins
and Ebony Duell. So Nancy, how was your spring break?
My spring break was splendid. How was yours?
I had a restful spring break. I really enjoyed it.
That's good.
We hope that all of you out there had a great spring break.
Bells, want to go global? The Bennett College Passport Fair is this Monday from 1 to 4 p.m. Be sure to come out.
March 23rd, join our Bennett sisters in recognizing our truest selves for the good vibes and energy discussion. Here's Reverend McLean with more information.
Hello, I'm Natalie McLean, and welcome to McLean's Minutes. Grace for the Good Girls offers some wonderful information for us, particularly if we try to operate in perfectionism. Many of us were raised to be a good girl, to be nice, to be quiet, to put everybody else's needs ahead of our own. And sometimes in doing that, we deny our true personality and our abilities to be confident women. So join us on Friday, March the 23rd from 4 until 6 p.m. in the common room of the Honors Hall. Join us for good vibes and energy. Kiani Nelson, first-year student, will be facilitating a workshop that is interactive. It's a great conversation to just come and be who you are and to also receive healing bags, and also you'll get to make an organic mask. Sometimes we as women wear masks, and they are used to kind of conceal who we really are. Now, first of all, there's nothing wrong with wearing makeup in itself as long as we're not trying to hide our true identity. When you come to this workshop, we'll talk a little bit about the lies women believe, the masks we wear, and we'll get to the good part, which is God's grace to set us free. So if you are ready to be the woman God created you to be, if you're ready to think a different way and to act differently, join us, like I said, on Friday, March the 23rd from 4 until 6 in Honors Hall Commons for good vibes and energy. Thank you. Hope to see you there.
I really enjoyed the Nelson Mandela quilt exhibit last month. I wish there was another exhibit coming soon.
There's already one going on right now, Ebony. Bennett College Wilbur Still Art Gallery presents Celebrating the Artistry of Ava Hamlin Miller. The exhibit will be on display until April 14th.
Students, be careful when walking downstairs in the student union basement.
Why?
Because you don't know.
What's going on?
We're getting a new cafe. Cinderella Cafe is coming next school year.
Bennett Belle Janiyah Shelton hosted her first art show in Greensboro on mental health for college students. Here's some highlights from that event.
So when you first walk in, you'll see the title of my art show, which is Mental Health on College Students by Janiyah Shelton. And as you walk through, there are pictures all over the walls. There's a total of 20 pictures, and at the bottom of the picture is the caption of each student who talked to me about their stories. And I separate the pictures by the emotions, and I start off with joy, and then love, sadness, fear, and anger. They walked in the studio, and then I gave them a question about the certain emotions. For example, for joy, I asked them, think of a time where you were happy during college, and I let them think about it. And so they're in a dark room in the studio, and I put like a bright light on their face. It's just a spotlight. And then once they're done, like think about their answer, I talk to them about it, and as they're talking to me, I take pictures of them, so like getting hand expressions, facial expressions, and then I use my phone to do like voice recording to get what they're talking about. I learned a lot of things. Some of these people that I did take pictures of, I knew them, and I didn't know like they went through the certain stuff that they did go through. You see a lot of students who go through mental health issues. Some do vent about, like they'll vent to somebody to talk about it. Some just like keep it to themselves and like use ways to cope, such as music, going out, self-care. I suffer a lot of stress and depression every now and then. So that's what made me do this art show, to bring it out to the public that this is like a real issue.
Have you ever seen TED Talk before?
Actually, I haven't.
Well, you're in luck. Next Thursday, Bennett College will have a live stream TED Talk located in GLC from 8 a.m. to 4:15.
Interdisciplinary Research Day is coming up on April 7th. The deadline to apply is March 23rd, but you can apply today and get priority entry. And I want to see all of the different majors out there. No matter what, just apply, come out, show your face.
Are you looking for an internship? I know for a fact I am. Students, be sure to check your emails every day for internships and scholarships.
We're hitting the road this week and going to Charleston, South Carolina. Look for highlights of that event next week. And before we get started with our Snapchat highlights of the week, Nancy, I have a little bit of something to tell you. So this is your first time hosting, and this would be your first time getting to ring the bell. So in honor of a Bennett tradition, when you ring the bell, you have to ring with a special Bennett Bell glove. And we have the Bennett Bell glove right back there in the closet. So if you go get it, I'll wait for you and we can ring the bell together. Because
Okay.
you have to wear a special glove.
But before I do that, do you mind handing me my phone right
Oh,
there?
girl, no problem.
I'm no fool. I'm kind of sad Black History Month is over. I had a lot of fun, went to some interesting events, met some historic people, and now we're in a whole new month.
Well, Nancy, it's no reason to be sad. This is a whole nother month to celebrate people that look like us. Women, of course. It's Women's Month, and we have a whole month to celebrate us. We're always celebrated.
Before we start celebrating women, let's take a look at some of the things that Bennett College did last month to celebrate Black History Month.
From 1960s to now, how much has changed so far to you?
Well, public accommodations have changed, which means that you're no longer publicly humiliated. Can't use a library, can't use a restaurant, can't use a toilet, can't drink water. That's just barbarism. We won that battle. You can travel from here to Wilmington, to Washington, to Memphis, to back, and using a hotel, motel, like that has changed. The right to vote. Now the resistance to our movement is very intense now. But at least we have a weapon with which to fight. When we use that weapon, we win. That's the value. That's the lesson in Alabama and Virginia, because we once could only hope to win. Now we can vote to win.
Well, the Greensboro Four were heroes to those of us who were at Dudley High School. When they got involved, automatically we were going to get involved too. It's kind of interesting when I think back, because I was really afraid. And then back in May of 1963, when we should have been graduating from high school, well, we were out marching. And so we blocked the entrance to the S&W cafeteria and would not let people come in or out, so they put us in jail. There were so many of us there, students, that the sheriff couldn't feed us all. He was bringing out peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. So the doctors, the lawyers, the preachers, the ministers, and people like that in our community started cooking food, good old fried chicken, down-home food, and bringing it down there to the polio hospital. And as they started to feed us, they had to feed the jailers too, because the jailers were having a hard time standing there watching us eat all this good food.
These were 18-year-old young men and students who were 17, 18 years old, even some of the high school students here. So no, I don't think you ever know that. But all you want to do is, while you do your work and what you do, you want to make sure that you do what your heart tells you to do is the right thing to do. And then to look back and see this impact. I was the first African-American woman elected to the Greensboro School Board. I'm the first African-American woman to represent the 12th Congressional District. Hopefully we'll be able to look back many years later and see some of the impact that we've made.
What did your daughters learn about your father, their grandfather?
Well, through me, and to this day, I really don't think they understand like I do. You know, it took me a while. They both have seen the statues over at ENT that I remember when they were unveiled, and And when they took the sheet off of it, and I saw it for the first time, I looked up, and it was cloudy. The sun started shining, and for me, that was I'm like, Dad's looking down at this.
When you first heard Martin Luther King's speech in Montgomery, Alabama, how were the feelings and the emotions when you first heard him?
I was excited. I had heard about him, I had read about him, and I was waiting to have an opportunity to meet him in person and to hear him speak. And of course, the first time I heard him, he was preaching at his church, and I really enjoyed that.
That evening, I was living in Maryland Hall, and I decided I was going to see him. So I sneaked in the chapel, went up in the area where the choir stand and crowd stand, and when he was speaking, I was looking at him.
Do you believe that there should be more change in the union working and the process of that?
More change in the unions working, yes. We have to, as a political entity in a democratic society, have to be more engaged in the public policy side of the government's activity.
Hello. Some of you may know who I am, while others don't. And if you don't, my name is Charlotte Fortin. I was born into a wealthy black abolitionist family in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I attended grammar school and normal school. I developed a love for poetry, mostly which focused on anti-slavery. Like many of the women in my family, I became a teacher. In 1862, I joined with teachers, black and white, to teach enslaved children in South Carolina. I was determined to change the lives of all African Americans and promise my people freedom and education. It was a hard task nonetheless. Recruiting new students, I came across my first student named Jacob, who was very determined and well-rounded. I also did more activist work besides the one I did in South Carolina. I became a member of the Salem Female Anti-Slavery Society, which was involved in fundraising as well. I moved to Washington, D.C., where I suddenly passed away. A couple years after my passing, I heard that they was doing a movie on me. It was very nice to hear, thanks to Paul Brock. This is Charlotte Fortin, and this was my life.
Good afternoon. My name is Meredith Jenkins, and welcome to Black History Minute. Today's inspiring black woman is Sarah Breed, but we all know her as Madam C.J. Walker. Madam C.J. Walker was born on December 23, 1867, near a plantation in Delta, Louisiana. She was born a free slave with her parents who died early, but since she was only 7 years old, she was sent to be raised with her sister and brother-in-law. They moved to Vicksburg, Mississippi, where they all picked cotton on a plantation. In order to escape the rough environment, she married a man named Moses McWilliams at the age of 14 and started a new job, earning only $150. Eventually, Madam C.J. Walker became the first African-American woman to create her own line for women of color. She was inspired by herself when she suffered from scalp ailment that led to her losing some of her hair, which inspired her to make remedies for black women. In 1905, she created her remedies. In 1908, she owned her own factory and sold her products around the world. She died in 1919 at the age of 51 from hypertension. But Madam C.J. Walker, we sisters, we appreciate you and your self-made contribution to the African American women.